Alright, let's do this again. Another 9 years late Lizardmen Codex Army Book review. So I meant to bring home the Orcs and Goblins book, do that one next. I'll do that one next. But I grabbed this one. So we're doing Lizardmen today. So some things I need to point out beforehand as I go over an Army Book review 9 years after it came out. I want to point out a couple of things. One, that conversation sparked from the last video of the High Elf book that made me realize something, that there is something I need to make it clearer about this. If you played Warhammer Fantasy back in the day, and you played competitively, you almost certainly did not play the same Warhammer Fantasy Battles I'm talking about today. To explain, the game is wildly unbalanced. It was, still is. So every tournament, for the most part, except for some of the local stuff, well, even a lot of them used it, but a lot of the tournaments use certain comps to change the way you make your list, or added more rules to the game, which or restrictions on what you can do, like how many magic dice you can generate, casting like death and shadow spell. It doesn't matter. Anyways, there's a bunch of extra comp, and if you're going to talk about any of those comps, like the Swedish comp was a big one, the ETC, the NA comp, there was, I had like 5 I was going to mention, but they drastically change the way the game is played, the way you're making your army. More so to the point where, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I don't see it as the same game. It's probably more balanced though, but it's not the same game we're talking about today. So when I talk about this, when I'm talking about this Lizardmen book, when I mention anything from a competitive standpoint, and when you do a book review, from my personal opinion, anytime you do a book review, when I'm talking about strength of something, I mean that in more of a competitive setting. Sorry, I got beard here in my mouth. To explain how I break things down, man. See, here's another thing I want to point out. Notice the no thumbnail, no editing. I'm trying to keep the video cheap. So whatever, you see me pull some beard hairs out. Okay, so I'm going to explain my thought process and what I mean by what's competitive and friendly play. So there are people who play just friendly and do whatever, and just have fun, and they have no concept of what's overpowered, what's too strong, what's too weak, and just playing with the same friends and just having fun. And then there's competitive play where you're trying to make a strong list for the purpose of playing the game and beating your opponent. So it doesn't always mean the most powerful cheesy combo you can possibly come up with, but you try to play the game to win. That's where I believe most people like to play. Sorry, there's one more step beyond that. That's a tournament play. I don't think competitive play and tournament play is synonymous. There's arguments that you say they are, but like that's how I'm breaking it down. So I'm not talking about tournament play, because all the tournament play is not playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles, even though nobody's doing that anymore. They're all doing different comps. So I mean competitive, where you're just trying to take a good list against your buddy who's playing as well, who's also bringing a good list. I think that clears it up as much as need be. Because, like I said, when I talk about something what's really bad and what's really good, bad things you can still bring and have fun, and good things you're going to see more often in the competitive list. And one more thing I pointed out about this book, when I grabbed this and brought this home, I realized I haven't played a Lizardman game in, I think, 3 years, but I'll say 2 years to be safe. I think it's been 3 years, maybe longer than that. No, it can't be that long. Either way, about 3 years. So I haven't refreshed myself on this book. I'm going to go through it all with you guys the first time in years. Let me find a good position here. And like the High Elf book, I had planned on skipping the named characters. I might mention a couple in this book for interesting reasons. Lizardman was one of my favorite armies, one of my primary armies for a long time. A solid close combat army, a respectable shooting army if you want it to be. What else we got? We have tons of monsters, great magic, and an army that can play the Muma phase incredibly well. So it's like almost, how do I put this? This is like any type of way you want to play, you can play. Okay, so we're starting off with the special rules in the army. We got cold-blooded. So whenever you take a leadership test with the Lizardmen here, you roll a 3rd die and you discard the highest die. Their standard, their average leadership is 8. Now they have Saurus and Skinks. Skinks are a little bit lower. Saurus are 8, which is a respectable leadership with cold-blooded. It is quite reliable. They have the Predatory Fighter special rule. This is for Saurus. Whenever a model with a special rule makes rolls a 6 to hit in close combat, it immediately makes another attack. Roll a hit and 2 wound as normal. Attacks generated by Predatory Fighter special rule do not generate further attacks. In addition, a unit that contains one or more models with a special rule can only test the Restrained Pursuit if there is at least one skink character, model, skink chief, skink priest, including the named ones, within 6 of the unit. So it's a nice unit, a nice rule. A couple things I find a little frustrating about it, but whatever, it's not that bad, is you have to have a skink hero within 6 to restrain pursuit. I think the rule's fine. I think the Slan should also be able to restrain them. I think that's kind of an oversight or a bonehead move. But whatever, it's not that big a deal. And another thing about the 6 to hit, generate another hit, is Saurus. Now, okay, so in 8th edition, everything fights in 2 ranks, and then spears 3 ranks when you're charged. It doesn't work from supporting attacks, so you only ever get 1 attack with supporting attacks. So you have to, like, when you're attacking with your unit, you have to, like, the front line does their attacks, and their second and third line does it. You have to roll them separately. I don't think it'd be whatever. It is what it is. I think it should have been even supporting attacks, got Predatory Fighter, but rules as written, they definitely don't. And I don't think it'd have been too bad if they got it, even though Saurus are really efficient fighters for their point cost. Then you have the Aquatic special rule. You're gonna find this on Skinks and maybe I think you're going to find it on Croak as well. Models with the special rule have the Marshland Strider and River Strider special rules. In addition, models with the special rule can march, claim cover bonus, and be steadfast even within marshland or river. So if you have a table with that on the, if you're playing on a table with that kind of terrain, it's actually quite a powerful special rule. It rarely comes up though. Furthermore, if every model in a unit has the aquatic special rule, and the majority of the unit is within marshland or river, enemies should get the unit suffer -1 to hit. It feels like if you're, because, well, the way we play, we so rarely have that kind of terrain, even though we've been having it more recently, really, it would be dishonest for me to put it on the, because when I play Warhammer Fantasy, I typically am the one to make the table. Not always, but I typically am the one to make the table. And like if I was playing Lizardmen and there's marshland and rivers on the table, I'll be like, oh, you're putting terrain on to give yourself an advantage. So I don't think I ever did it, but if I ever did, it definitely wasn't intentional. And then we have a couple of weapons that are unique to the Lizardmen. It's only the blowpipe and the Lustrian Javelin. A blowpipe is range 12, strength 3, multiple shots 2, and poison. Such a good weapon. The other one is the Lustrian Javelin, which is 12. It's a javelin that's poison. That's it. So 2 solid weapons, even though the blowpipe significantly wins out over the javelin in this game. Okay, let's go on to the units. The choices near me. We're starting with the Slan Mage Priest. It is you're having one of these in your army all the time. Like, sometimes you can play a pure source list for the fluff of it, and you're not going to bring a Slan. But like you're not doing that to make your list stronger. It is very much a fluff choice not to bring a Slan. A Slan. I'm not going to get into the narrative, the fluff, all that kind of stuff. But they are the leaders of the Lizardmen army. They have a movement of 2, movement of 4, weapon skill of 2, ballistic skill of 3, doesn't come into play. Strength 3, toughness 4, pretty good, toughness 4. 5 wounds, initiative 2. Low initiative is going to be your thing across this army. And then 1 attack with a leadership 9 for a lower level character. It is infantry. It is a level 4 wizard. It uses lore of high magic, which is not terrible for Lizardmen, but they also get to choose the other 8 lores in the rulebook as well, which are all pretty well, all useful, but a couple of them are just really good. They have the cold-blooded special rule, and they are on a palanquin. If I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I think I'm saying it correctly. Too bad. How I say it. Models of the special rule are always reroll failed dangerous terrain. Yes. Additionally, while they have my desk is too high. I have a, what do you call it, electronic desk. I keep it high for painting, but it's hard to read on. I don't want to adjust it because I gotta change my camera and everything. Okay, let's focus, Steve. Focus. The reroll failed dangerous terrain test. Additionally, while they have a troop type infantry, they never are considered to be models on foot for the purpose of spells. Yeah, okay, so they're floating above ground. They're not flying, but they are floating above ground. They used to have the hover special rule in previous editions. Pretty sure, anyway. Maybe not. They have the 4-up ward save, and they have a special rule called a telepathic confabulation. At the start of each friendly magic phase, before dice are rolled to determine the strength of the winds of magic, you may pick 2 friendly wizards with this special rule, so you need to have 2 slaying in your army, which doesn't happen that often anymore, but there was a particular build that did that. And they can swap spells. Not terrible. In previous editions, I'm thinking 5th, kind of 6th. You would see multiple land sometimes. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay, that's right. These old army books are not laid out well. I feel like I can't just move on to the next choice without describing the things that a slan can do. So we're gonna go ahead and find the page that explains some stuff. Okay, so we have disciplines of the old ones, are like basically upgrades for the slan character, which you're always going to be playing around with. And then they have the lore of high magic. Now the lore of high magic has a different lore attribute than the High Elves did. I'm pretty sure the High Elf book came out first. In fact, yes, it did. So the lore attribute for a slan who's casting spells from the lore of high magic is, if a spell from the lore of high magic is successfully cast by a wizard from the Warhammer Lizardmen, the caster can choose to forget that spell at the end of the magic phase. And at the end of the magic phase, the wizard must generate a replacement spell from any of the lore he can normally generate. Just you generate normally. So at the end of your turn, at the end of your magic phase, you can just forget a spell and then roll randomly on any other lore. Or even high again. So if you didn't get the one high spell you wanted, you could probably get it by not the first magic phase, but you just swap a spell out. It's not a terrible one, but it's not like the great. It's a pretty good lore attribute. I'm not gonna mock it. It's pretty solid. I like the lore attribute, even though I don't find myself often using the lore of high magic. Okay, so now let's talk about the disciplines of the old ones. These are upgrades you can pay points for to put on that slan to make them a better leader, caster. That's pretty much it, because you can't make him a better fighter. Okay, so you can get Reservoir of Eldritch Energy for 20 points. Oh, the slan? I believe he's... But you don't go to one page to find all your rules back in the day, you have to go to multiple pages. The slan starts out at 300 points. You can take 150 points worth of disciplines, and then 100 points of magic items. You will always do this. You can pay 25 points to make the slan your Battle Standard bearer. This breaks the rule of it can't be the same model. You have your slan general and Battle Standard bearer all in one, which you're always going to do, because don't play 8th edition without a Battle Standard bearer. Okay, Reserve of Eldritch, 20 points. At the end of your opponent's magic phase, the slan priest can store a single dispel dice remaining from your pool. At the beginning of your next magic phase, roll a d6 on a 2+, you add it to your power limit. If you roll a 1, the dice is lost. If the slan is dead, the dice is lost. Okay, so that's solid. It's 20 points. Now you can have a maximum of 4 of these. This is one I almost always took because it's only 20 points, and it often gave you an extra power dice in your magic phase. Sometimes you have to use all your dispel dice, but for 20 points, I think I've almost always taken this. It's a solid one. We have Soul of Stone for 25 points. When rolling the miscast table, a slan mage's priest can choose to subtract 1 from the result to a minimum of 2, or add 1 to the result to a maximum of 12, instead of accepting the original result. It's not that good, but it can be good. It can save you. Now the biggest downside to slan and the Lizardmen as a whole, the biggest downside to Lizardmen as a whole is they don't do well at mitigating miscasts. You can lose your general and your BSB and the game in one single bad dice roll in a game. It does happen. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. It is a major weakness of the army, but armies need to have weaknesses. You need to have things that are drawbacks. You can't be if you're the best at everything, the game's not fun, right? Okay, next one is Becoming Cogitation for 25 points. I think I often use this as well. You get to re-roll the first failed dispel attempt in each magic phase. So 25 points, you roll your dispel, you fail, you roll again. It allows you to risk a slightly lower die amount. It goes hand in hand with the Reservoir of Eldritch Energy because you don't want to use that last dispel die, so you can use your next magic phase. It's pretty solid, and remember, if a wizard fails to dispel a spell, they lose concentration. You can't then themselves dispel any more of that phase. This is more redundancy, so you're not dispelling on your basic or on your 0 until you're +4. Wandering Deliberation is one of my favorites. I don't always use it, but I used to use it quite a bit. Instead of generating spells normally, the Slan Mage Priest knows the signature spell from the 8 lores from the rulebook. So the signature spells are basically a whole lot of D6 damage spells with some exceptions. It makes your Slan a machine gun. It just keep rolling down tiny little D6 or 2D6. Fireball's fantastic, so you can scale it up. Just tons of little damage spells at units. It's actually pretty solid. Harmonic Convergence for 30 points. The Slan Mage Priest rolls 2 additional dice whenever he attempts to channel or dispel dice. Now, pretty good because there's a channeling rod for a magic item which goes hand in hand with this. It means you channel on a 5 or +1 your channel test. So basically you channel dice on a 5+. For those of you unaware, well, you're probably aware, you're probably not watching this video, but in the magic phase you could roll d6 for every wizard you have, and if you're the defender you get to get an extra dispel dice on the 6 or an extra power dice on a 6 if you're the active player. This one you roll 3 dice, and on a 5+ you gain dice. You almost always gain something. It's 30 points. I find it quite worth it. Next one is Howering Scrutiny. 30 points. The Slan Mage Priest has a Terror special roll. Terror took a dump in 8th edition. It's no longer a... Honestly, I've lost games because of Terror. Just Terror doesn't seem to be that big of a deal anymore. Transcendent Healing for 30 points. If the mall is alive at the end of any friendly magic phase, roll a d6 equal the difference between the Slan Mage Priest's starting number of wounds and his current number of wounds. For each roll of 6, the Slan Mage Priest immediately recovers a single lost wound lost earlier in battle. It's 30 points. You need 6s. Never going to use it. Never going to use it. You know what? I can't read that fast. I'll explain. So, you have 5 wounds on a Slan, and maybe it lost 2. At the end of your friendly magic phase? Yeah, at the end of friendly magic phase, because you lost 2 wounds, you roll 2d6. Every 6 up, you gain a wound. It's not worth it. Unfathomable Presence for 30 points. Roll d3 at the start of the enemy magic phase. The Slan Mage Priest has magic resistance X until the end of the phase, where X is the result of the d3. It's 30 points. It's more efficient to buy the Obsidian Lodestone or like magic items from the main rulebook to give you magic resistance than to use this. This is not worth 30 points. And then we have Focus of Mastery, 35 points. Slan Mage Priest has the Lore Master, Lore of High Magic special rule. The discipline cannot be combined with Wandering Deliberation. So, whenever I play Slan, I either know all of the High Magic, which is a pretty decent lore, works well with Slan, or I go Wandering Deliberations and go all the signature spells. There is a third option, is the Death Slan. I'll talk about it briefly in a second, but actually I'll go over that when we talk about magic items. But yeah, I don't ever use that one too often. And then the last one, which you would see the third Slan, it's called Higher State of Consciousness. It is 60 points. The Slan Mage Priest has the ethereal and unstable special rules, but cannot join units. So you can have them floating around with ethereal and unstable, which means if he ever gets caught in combat, he's just going to die. But he otherwise is pretty immortal. Like, you have to worry about bows or cannons killing him. I would give him some sort of magic resistance, like the Obsidian Lodestone, so he has a good 2-up ward save against spells, because somebody can like fireball at him and tear him down. But if you have a 2-up ward save against it, it's not that big a deal. They're not even bother casting on him. Now, the reason why you haven't seen me play this particular Slan too much in the years, if you watch my matchups over the years, is I play against Cullen quite a bit. And those Warplating cans will just like blow them away. Their attacks are magical. It'll just kill them outright. And I don't want to ever... We always make our list blind, so we never know what the other guy's doing, but we kind of know what they're playing. And I just feel like it would be wrong to bring this model against one player but not another. I don't know. I should have tried him a little bit more, to be honest with you. Okay, before we go to magic items, let's go back and talk about more units. Who is next? It's going to be the Saurus leaders. Yeah. We have two kinds of Saurus. We have the general, the Lord level and the hero level. The Lord level is called an Old Blood. Hero level is called a Scar Veteran. The Old Blood has Weapon Skill 6, Strength and Toughness 5, 3 wounds, Initiative 3, 5 attacks, and Leadership 8. Solid fighting character. Cold-blooded Predator Fighter. Scaly Skin 4+. You mix that with magic items, magic armor, light armor, shield. You get a solid save on this 5 attack, base strength 5, toughness 5 infantryman. And not that expensive. I remember correctly, I think 145 points. That actually might be with equipment. I'm gonna go ahead and check that before we carry on. Again, it's been years since I played this. 140 points. I was close. 140 points Bayer, but solid stats. In fact, I wonder if it's just better to start doing this from this page. Yeah, we'll do this from this page. Okay, we can take some mounts, which I'll have to go back to this part of the section. You can put on a Carnosaur, a Cold One, a Pterodon, or a Ripperdactyl. No, you can't put on a Ripperdactyl. Those are for skinks. You put them on a Cold One, which is it's a little mini lizard mount. Little tiny Godzillas. They're movement 7, they're strength 4, and they have 2 attacks per mount. Solid for their mounts. I think they have... Yeah. Thick skinned, which means better... They basically give you the same armor save as a barded mount, and stupidity. Mounts are dumb. The Carnosaur has a rule called Blood Frenzy, cold-blooded, large target, and it has a Scaly Skin 4+. Now, I believe it has special attacks. I'm going to go ahead and try to find that page. Stegatrons, Salamanders, Bastila Carnosaurs. Okay. Carnosaurs are strength 7, solid strength for a monster. They only movement 7 though. Toughness 5, 5 wounds, initiative 2, 4 attacks, and a leadership of 5. Cold-blooded, I already went through all that. Blood Frenzy, once the Carnosaur, but not his rider, has inflicted an unsaved wound, it immediately becomes subject to Frenzy. Furthermore, the Carnosaur never ever loses Frenzy. It just gets angry. You can upgrade this monster to have Loping Stride. It gives them the Swift Stride special rule. That is so good in a monster. It's so good. I would always do that. Then Blood Roar. Enemy units must roll an additional d6, discarding the lowest result for leadership tests to resolve fear and terror effects caused by this beast. Now, if I'm playing against Empire, it's going to be pretty good. If I'm playing against Skaven, they're still going to be leadership 10, almost always. And if I'm playing against Luca, they're just going to be immune to fear. You don't see that too often, but it is solid against, just not the armies I play against most often. Was there another mount you can go on? Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's just move back over to this section and just move on down the list. Okay. Not over. Okay. Name character. Okay, we got Skink Priests are next for 65 points a model. They have movement 6. Solid movement. 6 movement is really good in fantasy. Really good. Only weapon skill 2. Who cares? Strength, toughness 3. Let's skill 3. Strength 3. Toughness 2. 2 wounds. Initiative 4. There's your high initiative in the army. The Skinks have decent initiative. 1 attack. Leadership 6. Lower leadership, but remember, they are cold-blooded. This is a wizard, obviously. Level 1. Upgrade to level 2. Sorry. Just remember something that I haven't done in a while. Okay, they can have Lore of Heavens or Lore of Beasts only. Now, I actually really enjoy both of those lores. Lore of Heavens used to be super overpowered, though. It's still, Lore of Heavens works quite well with Lizardmen, but it's not. There's signature spells where you take Lore of Heavens for this army. But Lore of Beasts is one of my favorite lores, so I'm more than happy to have this model have Lore of Beasts. Both the signature spells are what you really want. So Lore of Heavens, I can't remember what it's called. You put it on unit, they're like -1 to hit. And then the Lore of Beasts is wild form. +1 strength and toughness. It's for 1 of your units within 12. It's so good. And like when your basic troop choice, we'll get to that in a minute. The Saurus Warriors are already strength and toughness 4. Making them strength and toughness 5 is really good. People are often throwing away too many dice to stop this spell. If you have any dice left to allocate to a skink. Now, typically, I bring a couple of skinks because those are magic item that works kind of like a Dispel Scroll. And then you can also take a Dispel Scroll and a different skink and just kind of like have magic superiority. But there is your skink. Okay, moving on to heroes, we have the sword. Oh yeah, the skink can also ride on a Stegatron. We'll get to those later. Source Scar Veteran is your hero level source character. It's only weapon skill 5, still strength and toughness 5, 2 wounds, leadership 8. It only has Scaly Skin 5 up, but it's only 80 points. So significantly cheaper than the Old Blood. Same strength, same toughness. He has 4 attacks. He still has 4 attacks. So the Old Blood has 5 attacks. The hero level one has 4 base strength 5 attacks on his own. Well worth 80 points. Skink Chief is your skink characters who aren't wizards. So basically you have Bliss skill 5 and strength 4, toughness 3. 2 wound skinks. Can be a BSB obviously. Same in the source one. Alright, let's talk about core units. We talked about our characters a little bit. We know that it's all about the slan. But core units. We're going to go on to Source Warriors. One of the greatest baseline fighters in the entire game. Their only negative, as far as I'm concerned, is they're on a 25 mil base. I wish they're on 20 mil bases, but that would make them way too. Okay, so for 11 points a model, you have a movement 4, that's your average. Weapon skill 3, that's your average. Ballistic skill 0, so they can never, no range weapons. But strength and toughness 4, 1 wound, initiative 1, 2 attacks. Leadership 8. Scaly Skin, 5 up, and then you have a shield. You have hand weapons or spears. So you have a 4 up armor save, strength and toughness 4, 2 attack infantrymen for 11 points as your core. It is maybe too cheap. A solid core choice. So you want to go heavy on melee, heavy on fighting, you got it covered. Now you can go another way altogether and just go pure skink. So that's another very effective and competitive way to play, where you don't even bother with your really good source warriors. You just bring mass units of skinks everywhere and just skirmish around the table and control the table and redirect and flee and go kill the points that you need to kill and win the game that way. Now it's typically not fun to play against, but from experience it is super fun to use. I actually really enjoy it. I try not to do it too much because it's a little frustrating for the opponent. So you have your skink cohort, which is a skink unit that doesn't skirmish. They're 5 points a model. They're weapon skill 2, toughness 2, initiative 4, leadership 5 unit. Like it's gonna lose combat 100% of the time. Like you never ever use it competitively. It's so bad. They're gonna lose combat to everything. They can have shields. They have I think it's Scaly Skin 6+. Yeah, they do. So they get up to a 5 up save, and they have javelins. Now, what's really cool, what used to be really cool, is you can put there's just like yeah, there still is. For every 8 skinks in a unit, you can put a Croxagore. That's a big ogre-like crocodile man with, beefy attacks. Now, they're the only well, no, I guess. Okay. Nope, that's not accurate either. There are a number of units in the game that could do this. But it's typically big guys with a few little guys in the unit. This is the horde, like it's not a horde, but it couldn't be a horde. This is a core unit of really tiny, crappy infantry with big monsters scattered in it. It used to be really cool back in the day. It does not work anymore. This unit, no matter how you try, is just always going to give more combat resolution to your opponent than you're going to receive. It doesn't work anymore. I love the idea of it. I love the way it looks, where you have like a block of 20 skink and 1 Croxagore in a minute moving around. That's how it was back in 5th edition. But then like to make it really get have it really get any wounds, you need to bring a lot of skinks in a horde with a lot of Croxagore, and the Croxagore do the attack over the skinks, obviously, and they'll get you the kills, but the skinks are going to take all the damage first, and they're going to just give up so much resolution that even that doesn't work. It's better to bring the Croxagore on their own. So, nice idea, doesn't work. Though, for 50 points, you can have a 5x5 skink unit that doesn't skirmish to move around with javelins. Not bad for 50 points. Problem is, you also have skink skirmishers for 7 points, or the same thing. Can't put Croxagore in them, but they run around as skirmishers for 70 points, and they have blowpipes. which means they can, multiple shot, double tap, toot with their poison blowpipes. Is a solid unit. So if you want to bring nothing but skink skirmishers with blowpipes, as you can have javelins as well, but blowpipes are better. Yeah, nothing but skink skirmishers with blowpipes as your core units. It is solid. It is good. If you master the moon phase, it will be very, very powerful. Even though the Saurus are quite good. So either way, core units, you can spend more than the 25% minimum and do very, very well. This is not an army that wants to spend the minimum on core and move on. So good. Okay, moving on to special units. We have Temple Guard. These are the special slan protectors of the Saurus. They have better weapon skill, weapon skill 4, and that's it. Yeah, okay. They do come with light armor, a shield. Doesn't really matter. You can't use them both at the same time, but it's good for shooting, and a halberd. So they are strength 5 and melee with 2 attacks base. They have the Guardian special rule, which I have to go back this way. I'm pretty sure it means you cannot attack a slan, or the slan must be in the 2nd rank. They're in the Temple Guard. Yeah, and it automatically passes its lookout, sir. And when they are joined by slan, they are stubborn and immune to psychology. Now, these are 3 points more per model than the Saurus Warriors, but significantly better fighters. Though, downside is everybody knows it. So, they're going to dump their shooting, they're going to dump their magic into the squad, they're going to neuter the squad as best they can. Solid unit, and they're beautiful, they're pretty. Okay, so we have Jungle Swarms. I don't own any, never had any. I don't think they work anymore. They are strength and toughness 2 swarms. They have 5 wounds and 5 attacks. 35 points. Poison. Swarms are nothing. Chameleon Skinks are next. We have upgraded skink skirmishers. They have scout skirmishers, chameleon, scaly skin, 6+, and aquatic. Now these are almost twice as expensive as the skink skirmishers. I bring them. Used to bring them every now and then. You don't always need them. Because again, they're almost twice as expensive, 13 points a model. But they are more resilient because of the chameleon rule, which I want to read so as to not misremember it. Every enemy units shooting at a unit of chameleon skinks suffer an additional -1 to hit. So they're already skirmishers are -1 to hit, and then they blend in with the surroundings. So they're -2 to hit, excluding range or anything else. So solid. You basically take them because they scout. Are they worth twice as many points as a scout? Maybe. And then we got Cold One Riders. Okay, so we have Saurus Warriors on Cold Ones. So you have a solid infantry model with solid stats on a mount, which gives you 2 more strength 4 attacks. Ton of attacks. I've never owned any, though I would use these. The only problem the problem with them is they are in the special spot. If they were in core, I'd use them all the time. Even though, no, I probably wouldn't. I'd use them more if they were core. But if I want my rank bonuses, I'm going to get that from Saurus Warriors. But yeah, the only problem is they're special, which means 30 points per model. Spears cost them 4 points extra per model, and I think you want to do that. So you have Scaly Skin 5+ plus a shield. That's 4. Oh wait, 5, 4. Mount is 3. Oh, but thick high. So yeah, they have 2. So they will have a 2 up save for 34 points per model. So you want to buy that spear. A lot of attacks. You're gonna have 2 strength 5 attacks on the charge, and then 2 more strength 4 attacks, which is solid. Little up there in points. Problem is, when you're making a list, it's gonna be they don't fill a role the army needs, though they do work. It's hard to allocate points to them, but not bad. Next we got Crocodile, which can do a very similar job. Now these are 50 points per model. Unit size is 3+. They do cause fear. They are the little ogre crocodile ogre men, little or giant. Okay, they have movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength 5, toughness 4, 3 wounds. Initiative 1 doesn't matter because they have great weapons. So basically they're strength 7 and 3 attacks. Leadership 7 per model. Now leadership 7 is not great, but remember they are cold-blooded. And they have predatory fighter. and a Scaly Skin 4+. 50 points per model is hefty. It's a little high. But I've used these to some success. They're not an auto include, but they're not like never bring them. I enjoy them. Pterodon Riders are next. They're not bad. Okay, so we have a 35-point monstrous cavalry that flies. The Pterodon is strength 4, toughness 3, and the Rider's toughness 2. The Pterodon has 2 wounds, so it's basically a toughness 3, 2 wound model with leadership 5. They carry javelins on a Scaly Skin 6+, but they're mounted, so 5 up armor save. And they can swap their javelins for Fire Leech Bolas, which I've never had. And they have the Drop Rocks special rule, which they've had forever. Let's go ahead and check out what these two things do. Okay, Drop Rocks once per game. They've had this rule for my entire life. Once per game during the the remaining move subphase. Models with this special rule may drop rocks unless they are fleeing or have declared a charge that turn. All models in the unit must drop rocks at the same time. Drop rocks like one unengaged enemy unit that the Pterodons have moved over. Target immediately suffers D3 strength 4 hits for each Pterodon that flew over them. Distribute it like shooting. It's not terrible. This is not, I don't think this is why you want to take them, but it's not terrible. And then if you want to switch to their javelins, which are poison, to Fire Leech Bolas, they are range 6. I don't like that. Strength 4, flaming attacks, and quick to fire. So, yeah, I don't know. I've never had them. Never had to try them out. But yeah, they're a little pricey. But they're good at hunting war machines, getting behind slow monsters, throwing poison at things. I never had the chance to try out the Fire Leech Bolas. I don't think Strength 4 is nice, but poison is better, I think. Yeah, so I don't know. They used to be a mainstay of the Lizardmen. I don't think you need them anymore. But the models are really nice. Next we have the Stegatron. So Stegodon is a special choice. We have a monster in special choices for 215 points. Movement 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 0, strength 5, toughness 6, 5 wounds, initiative 2, 4 attacks, leadership 6. Now the initiative 2 is a liability. Well, not really. You think certain spells like Dwellers Below are gonna, not Dwellers, Pit of Shades will like swallow them up. Remember, they are brewed by Skink, which are initiative 4, and almost all of those things in the game uses the highest initiative in a unit or model. So like it's got good initiative for the things that you're worried about having bad initiative for. The Stegodon itself fights slow, but you know he's got initiative 4 riders to control him to not fall into pits. You can have a giant bow. No, you do have a giant bow. The weapon's a rare choice. You have immune to psychology. It does impact hits. Impact hits D6+1. Like a chariot. It's got giant horns. Scaly Skin 4+, stubborn, and terror. Now, it's only leadership 6, but that stubborn is quite helpful. There are 2 upgrades you can have for this: Unstoppable Stampede and Sharpened Horns. Sharpened Horns is 20 points and makes your impact attacks D3 damage. And Unstoppable Stampede is, I think, +1 attack on the charge. I'm going to go ahead and look that up to make sure I am accurate. Unstoppable Stampede has a devastating charge special rule, and Sharpened Horns, his impact hits have multiple wounds D3. Okay, so that's pretty good for hitting other monsters. Now, it comes with a giant bow. It is range 36, strength 5, multiple wounds D3, and it penetrates ranks. Does it penetrate ranks? Oh yeah, it penetrates ranks like a bolt thrower. It is poison, so if it hits on a 6, the first model is automatically wounded. Not bad for only 215 points and a special choice. I've never personally owned any. Back in 7th edition, there was a nice, not that we're talking about 7th edition, it was a nice list where there's just a lot of monsters. I could totally see myself painting up a new Lizardman army, just all monster max, monster heavy. Moving on to the next unit, we have the Bastila Dawn. It's a monster with movement 4. It's slow. It's a turtle. Weapon skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, 4 wounds, initiative 1, 3 attacks, leadership 6. It is crewed by Skinks, and I believe, yeah. Scaly Skin 2+. It's a monster with a 2-up armor save. It has a special. It only has 3 attacks, but it has a big. I'm brain farting. I'm blanking on the name of the actual dinosaur it's based off of. It's got the big old hammer tail, so 1 attack is allocated to the tail for like a good attack or whatever. You're not taking this thing to go into combat. Let me just pull them up and talk about the special things. Here's the rule of impervious defense. A Bastila Dawn counts as having no flanks or no rear. And that 1 attack is +1 to hit. It counts as strength 10. Now it can have 2 things mounted on its back: a Arc of Sotek or a Solar Engine. Now I've heard people just swear by the Arc of Sotek. I don't get it. I don't really like it, but whatever. The Arc of Sotek has range of D6 and a strength of 2. The Arc of Sotek can be activated in any friendly shooting phase, even if the Bastila Dawn is marched, charged, or is engaged in close combat. So that helps with a bad range. When activated, all enemy units within D6 immediately take 2d6 strength 2 hits, distributed like shooting. So basically, it's a big metal canister on his back full of snakes. The skinks that are riding him hold a torch to it, heat up the canister, and a bunch of snakes come pouring out and ravenously attack anything around them except for other lizardmen. Well, friendly lizardmen. So it could be pretty good, but you gotta get really close. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem terrible. Problem is, I like the Solar Engine better, which is the other option, is the big laser crystal. And the Solar Engine has a special rule. All friendly units with the cold-blooded special rule within 6 of 1 or more Bastila Dawns with the Solar Engine gets +1 initiative. Initiative is the weak point of this army, but having initiative 2 on your Source Warriors means they're going to swing before always strikes last, at least. Great weapons, stuff like that. In addition, the Solar Engine has the innate bound spell Beam of Chotek. It is power level 3. It's a magic missile with a range of 24. If successfully cast, roll d6 and fill the table below. So if you successfully cast it at power level 3, and then you roll d6, if you roll a 1, the enemy takes d3 strength 3 hits. On a 2 to 3, it's d6 strength 4 hits. On a 4 to 5, it's 2d6 strength 5 hits. And on a 6, it's 2d6 strength 6 hits. In addition, the target suffers -1 to the weapon skill and ballistic skill to a minimum of 1, and at the start of the next magic phase for the Bastila Dawn. It's power level 3. It's so good. I just love it. I love it. The problem is remembering to leave enough dice to cast a spell. Either use it early to draw dice from your opponent, or use it last and just need that 1 extra die. I mean, on a 4+, it's doing... On a 4+ after you cast a spell, it is doing crazy damage. If you roll a 2 or 3, it just does regular fireball damage. It's fine. It is... I love it. It's so good. Okay, we talked about Carnosaurs. We got named characters here. Whoa. I hope that didn't break. I'll look at that later. Okay, we're good. I'm not going to roll over my chair. Alright, next special unit is the Ripper Dactyl Rider. It is another flying monstrous beast. How long is this video? I can't see. Okay, it is another flying monstrous infantry unit. No, monstrous beast unit. They have spears and shields, and they have scaly skin 6+. So he's mounted. They're going to have a 4-up armor save. It's still a skink, which is only strength 3. Still strength 4 on the charge. But the Ripper Dactyl itself, strength 4. Toughness 3, much like the Pterodon, but it has 2 attacks. It has Frenzy, which means leadership 5 on this unit. You gotta be careful with it. Frenzy, killing blow on the Ripper Dactyl itself. And Fear and Toad Rage. Okay, so it's got a lot of attacks, and it's only 40 points per model. It can be good. It's only like if it didn't have Frenzy, the unit would be too good. It would be. But Frenzy's liability because they fly. The leadership 5, they're going to end up doing bad charges. So you have to like fly them facing the wrong way all the time until you're ready to go in. But then there seem to be always a turn behind. So Frenzy almost makes them not usable. But without Frenzy, they're too good. It's an interesting little problem. So I wouldn't change them. I'm going to explain Toad Rage. There's a little black toad marker. Before the game starts, after scouts have been deployed, the Lustrian Blot Toad marker can be placed, it's a little toad, next to a unit for every Ripodactyl rider you have. When fighting a unit in close combat that has a Blot Toad marker, the Ripodactyl's Frenzy grants it D3+1 extra attacks instead of just 1. You have to mark 1 unit for Ripodactyl. Yeah, I like them, but it's that Frenzy. I don't like things I can't control, but some people might love them. Okay, I think we're done special. Yeah, we're on to rare. Next we have the Ancient Stegatron. So this guy has movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength and toughness 6, and 5 wounds, 1 attack, 1 initiative, 3 attacks, and a leadership 6. Other than that, he is the same. So he has 1 less attack, higher strength than the Stegodon, and he is 15 points more than the Stegodon. So you're gonna have less melee attacks, but your impact attacks are gonna be at strength 6 instead of strength 5. You can do the sharpened horns or unstoppable stampede upgrades as normal, and then there are 2 things you can have mounted on top of it. Oh yeah, sorry, this was actually Scaly Skin 3+ on this monster, whereas the regular one I believe is it's only 4+. Other than that, same rules. Stubborn Terror, Large Target, Mutant Psychology, all that kind of stuff. Now, you can mount either the Engine of the Gods or the Lustrian Blowpipes. I generally can't remember what the Engine of the Gods is at this moment. So, the giant blowpipe is 18-inch range, strength 3, multiple shots 2d6. Now, remember, there's 2 of these on the Ancient, so 4d6 poison shots. It is multiple shot, so you kind of gotta get close or you're gonna miss. Now, if you have the Engine of the Gods, instead of those blowpipes, you have the Arcane Configuration rule. If you have 1 or more Engine of the Gods on the battlefield at the start of your magic phase, select one of the 8 Lords of Magic from the rule book. Until the start of your next magic phase, the casting value for all spells in the selected lore are reduced by 1. Now, if I give you +1 to cast, it'd be better, but it just makes them slightly easier to cast. And it comes with the innate bound spell called Burning Alignment. Power level 3. Targets every enemy unit within 46. Each target suffers D6 strength 4 hits with a flaming attack special rule. That's actually quite good. Yeah, you roll, average 14 inches. You gotta march them forward. Send off the Burning Alignment. You can do a lot of damage. And he has the Portent of Warding. So, any friendly unit within 6 of Engine of the Gods. Wait, is it Engine of the Gods only? Yeah. Yeah, sorry, it's labeled, yeah, if you have the Engine of the Gods on the Ancient Stegodon, all friendly units in the 6 have a 6 upward save. That's not nothing. So this monster, the solid attacks on the charge, it's stubborn. It's got a 3 up save. It has a 6 up ward save. It hands out a 6 up ward save and can melt an entire army within 46 with the Burning Alignment bound spell. I use the Ancient Stegodons quite often, actually. Age of the Gods is a 55-0 point upgrade though, but worth it. Worth it. Alright, let's keep moving on. We have the Salamander hunting packs. We have it's their War Machine monster. Salamander runs around and spewts flames at you. And Scaly Skin 5+ has Fear. It's so good. You're gonna see 2 of these in every army that's even remotely want to try competitive. It uses the teardrop template with the strength 4 flaming attack. So it can never stand and shoot with it. It's still with fire. But you place it and you roll an artillery die and you move on forward, and you can destroy entire units with this template for this 80-point unit. You can purchase additional skinks for the unit. I think only 1 more for 5 points, because when this thing misfires, it eats D3 skinks. And it's a handler unit, so you need those skinks to control the thing. And the other one version is the Razer Dawn hunting pack. 18-inch range, strength 4, quick to fire. It throws quills at you. How it works is the shoot barbs is a shooting attack. All Razer Dawns in the pack must shoot the same target. Shoot barbs is fired using the same rules as a cannon firing a grape shot, but with the profile and differences given below. The Razer Dawn can shoot barbs if it moves, but not if it marches. If the artillery dice result is a misfire, no shots are fired, and then D3 Skinks are eaten. And I believe, if charged, the Razer Dawn hunting pack must stand and shoot as if it was able to do so. However, when calculated the number of shots fired, each Razer Dawn can reroll the artillery die. Not a bad unit. I've had these forever. They're not expensive. So they're not bad. It's just typically it's the first thing I cut from my list when I have to start making cuts. But the Salamanders, they're going to be there every time. So did we get through all of the things? No, we did not. Next, we got the Troglodon, another rare monster. It's not a great monster, but it's also inexpensive. Its main issue is fighting for the 25% point allotment that your Ancient Stegatron and your Salamanders are fighting for. It's a 7-inch move monster with Strength, Toughness 5, 5 wounds, Initiative 2, 3 attacks. It's only Leadership 5, but it is mounted by a Skink Oracle with Leadership 6. Okay. I think on the page, it's been so long. I don't know what any of those things were. Get a refresher in a moment here. No. Where are you, Trog? I don't miss these layouts. Because we gotta go all the way. Yeah, it's by the Skink Leaders. Okay. So the Beast Rider special rule, a Troglodon and a Skink Oracle Rider have their own characteristics but are treated like a single model. It's the first time we've seen, I think this is one of the first books we've seen something like that. Because typically they'd be separate, which means a cannon would hit both and the Oracle just die right away. Like a ridden monster. This is a Beast Rider instead of a ridden monster. If the Troglodon is removed, the Skink Oracle is removed with it. You always use the Trog's movement. Basic stuff. Okay. There's a Primeval Roar. Once per battle, at the start of any friendly close combat phase, a Troglodon can unleash this Primeval Roar. The effects of the Troglodon and all friendly units within 12. Oh, this affects the Troglodon and all friendly units within 12. All models in this unit have their Predator Fighter special rule gain an additional attack on any successful hit roll of 5 instead of 6. 5 or 6. Which is really solid. I remember I always forgot to use it when I had it. It's the only real reason why you want to bring this thing. But honestly, its points are just better spent elsewhere. It does have the Spit Venom special rule. It's 18-inch range, it's strength 5. It has multiple wounds D3. And it is quick to fire. It is only on a Ballistic Skill 3 model, but whatever. And you can have a Divining Rod. So you can pay some points to upgrade the Oracle to have a Divining Rod, and it can channel a die like a wizard in the Power Order spell. It is 15 points for that, just to be able to channel. I mean, if you have 15 points left over, and you have nothing to spend it on, sure. Yeah, I don't like that. And I believe, okay, we did it. That is all the choices. Let's go over the magic items. A very important thing. And I want to make fun of some special characters. Pretty much you don't use special characters in the book. No, Gorok, not Gorok. Is it Gorok? Yeah, Gorok's not terrible. This is one of the books where all the special characters, you can make an equivalent or better for cheaper. It's like the special characters in the book are just extremely overcosted. Even though I never really liked special characters anyway. Okay, let me find. Okay. Treasures of the Old Ones. We have the Blade of Realities for 100 points. No armor saves can be taken in. No armor or ward saves can be taken as wounds caused the Blade of Realities. That is, you put that in Old Blood. He can get a decent armor save. He's not gonna be very defensive, and he's gonna be very slow at Initiative 3. But anything he swings, if he's still alive, he's just gonna kill. The Piranha Blade is a solid choice for 50 points. The wielder has the multiple wounds D3 and armor piercing special rule. You can see this on an Old Blood or a Scar Veteran who already has strength 5. Now they're strength 5 armor piercing D3 damage. Another good way of killing big guys and characters and monsters and stuff. The Sacred Helm of Itza for 40 points. The wearer counts as armor save being 1 higher than normal. And furthermore, the Sacred Stegadon Helm grants the bearer +1 toughness and Impact hits D3. That's solid for 40 points. 40 point plus 1 toughness is typically worth about 50 points. So it's already cheaper than the plus 1 toughness. You're going to gain plus 1 armor save. And then impact hits D3. Now, honestly, I find my swords typically get charged instead of charging themselves. But if they did, extra D3 impact hits on the strength 5 character. We're going to Magic Standards now. We have a 65-point Skaven Pelt banner. All models in the unit have, with the Skaven Pelt banner, gain the Frenzy and Hatred Skaven special rule. However, all models from the Skaven army hate the unit with the banner. I don't like items that are specific to a certain army, because I'm bringing it to tailor against you, it's wrong. In the 65 points, it's too expensive. If it was 50 points, I actually might bring it every now and then. As whatever, we'll try it as a joke with Colin. Colin, I want you to know I'm bringing this banner. You're going to hate my unit, but I'm going to hate yours, and I'm getting Frenzy. Frenzy on Saurus Warriors ain't terrible, but this has to go on a Saurus Scar Veteran army standard. Like, I just never... It's too expensive. It's never going to be used. We have the Jaguar Standard. This standard has been around for years. For 50 points, all models in a unit with a Jaguar Standard have the Swift Stride special rule. Charging and actually using an extra die to charge is pretty good. It's a solid standard. It's one of those things. Is the first thing I'm cutting when I need the points, though. Now there also is liability with this thing because you're also going to overrun. You can't restrain unless you have a skin character nearby. You're also going to overrun a little bit farther, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. But if you can't choose to restrain, no, we got arcane. All right, we have arcane items next. We have the Cube of Darkness for 30 points, 1 use only. When an enemy casts a spell, the wizard with the Cube of Darkness can, instead of attempting to spell the spell, use the cube. If it does so, roll a d6. On a 2+, the spell is automatically dispelled. So it's a dispel scroll that works on a 2+ for 30 points. Otherwise, the spell resolves normal. In either case, roll a separate d6 for every remains in play spell currently in effect. On a 2+, that spell automatically ends. So if you got a bunch of your own buff spells up, you can end up removing your own buff spells. You have to use this wisely, but it's an auto-include as far as I'm concerned. Because you got, like, you're going to maybe ogres or whatever, and they're buffing up their unit, and you're saving one more spell for the last one, and then, okay, I'm going to use my cube, I'm going to spell that last spell, and then I'm going to remove Troll Guts, I'm going to remove Spine Marrow, I'm going to get them all off you. It's a really, really, really good magic item, but you got to remember, it's every remains in play spell in play, even your own, if you have your NU. But hexes, not all hexes and not all augments are remains in play. So they wouldn't drain those off. Unless they have remains in play. It's a solid magic item. The Plaque of Dominion for 25 points. It's a bounce spell 3. The Plaque of Dominion contains a hex spell that targets all enemy wizards with an 18. The targets of the spell have the Stupidity special roll at the start of the next magic phase. I'm not paying 25 points to then use power die to give stupidity to, like, stupidity doesn't, like, it's 8th edition. Psychology really isn't a thing. Like, yes, sometimes you lose a game because of psychology. Sometimes you win a game because of psychology, but, like, you're never going to rely on it. Next, we have the Enchanted items. We have the Cloak of Feathers for 35 points. Skin character on foot only. The wearer of the Cloak of Feathers has a fly special roll. Pretty basic. In addition, the wearer has magic resistance 1. It's not bad to have a flying character. We have the Horn of Kygor for 35 points. 1 use only. The bearer of the Horn of Kygor can sound at the start of any of his movement phases. If he does so, all friendly monsters, monstrous mounts, monstrous beasts, monstrous cavalry mounts, monstrous cavalry mounts, chariot, beasts, and war beasts within 12 of the bearer have the Frenzy special rule until the start of their next movement phase. Note the Horn of Kygor has no effect on riders, just their mounts. Now, even the what are they called? Cold One Riders? Even the Source Cold One Riders, this is pretty good with, because all the old ones with their strength 4 attacks, extra attacks are frenzy. If you build a list around this, it's not going to be a great list, but it is a fun 1 turn. Everything charges in, send all the monsters in. I wouldn't use this item that often, but every now and then I would make a list just to use this item because it's fun. And then we got, I think the last one, the Egg of Quango for 30 points, an enchanted item. One use only. The Egg of Quango can be cracked open at the start of any close combat phase. Nominate one enemy unit that's missed contact with the bearer and his unit. Roll a d6 and consult the table below to find out what happens. Any wounds inflicted count towards the combat result. Solid item. Okay, if you roll a 1 after you crack your egg open, the enemy unit suffers d6 strength 3 hits. These count as combat resolution. So roll a 1, it's not bad. 30 points for that. Actually, that's still not bad. If you roll a 2 to 3, the enemy unit suffers d6 strength 4 hits. If you roll a 4 to 6, the enemy unit suffers 2d6 strength 5 hits. That is a combat winning magic item. Having it on a Skink Chief riding a Stegatron, charges in, does impact attacks, cracks open the egg, on a 4+, 2d6 strength 5 more attacks, then you get your Thunder Stomps. You're going to do some damage. Or it's just a guy on foot. It's such a good magic item. Okay, that is it. That's the book. So you have... I'm not done, even though I should be done. Okay, we're about an hour. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. So we have fantastic magic. Fantastic anvil fighters. You can go pure skirmish, pure movement with skinks, solid monsters. It's just one of my favorite armies. And I just never really liked my paint job. It's too mosky, but like it's one of the armies. I wonder what Tony is, but it's one of the armies I could totally, if I had time, would love to paint a whole new Lizardman army. From the hobbyist standpoint, it can be absolutely the best. Now, I do want to cover some special characters. I'm not going to cover them. We're going to talk about the fact that there's a character named Crocodile who rides a Carnosaur. The Carnosaur's name is Grimlock. There is Lord Masamundi, is a Slan, who rides a Stegodon. The Stegodon's name is Slack. There is Tic-Tac-Toe. He rides a Pterodon. The Pterodon's name is Swoop. I just want to mention that. For those of you who get that, those who understand that, you're my age or older. And respect to Games Workshop for keeping that in. But yeah, we have Lord Croak, the mummified Slan mage with his own spell, Deliverance of Itza. It's casting on a 10. It's a direct damage spell. All enemies within 12 suffer 2d6 strength 4 hits. If the unit is demonic, undead, or Nekahar and undead, it suffers 3d6 hits instead. The spell can be extended to range 18. The casting value goes up to 18. It can be increased to range 24. Casting value goes up to 24. This guy's super expensive point wise. But he can, like, he's too good. He can win you games. So you shouldn't ever bring him. Then we have Lord Masamundi. He's like just shy of 800 points. He's a Slan on a giant, on a Stegodon. There's no model for him. You have to kind of convert him, but a lot of points. Really cool. I think he's in Total War. Yeah, he is. And he's just not really worth it, but he's so expensive. You have Gorok, the White Lizard. Okay, now this guy's actually worth talking about. Because you could use him in a game, and it's not like I want to say 185 points. Like he's not stupidly overcosted like the rest of them. Gorok, yeah, 185 points. Okay, so Gorok, he is movement 4, weapon skill 5. He counts as is he a lord? No, he's a hero. He's a hero level character. He's strength 5, toughness 6, 2 wounds, initiative 3, 4 attacks. He has unit psychology. He has scaly skin 4+, and he's stubborn. And he has resilient. If Gorok suffers unsaved wound from an attack that has a killing blow, heroic killing blow, or multiple wound special roll on a 2+, he only suffers 1 wound, no matter how many wounds it would cause. He has the Mace of Ulumak, magic weapon. The Mace of Ulumak allows Gorok to reroll failed to hit rolls. In addition, when striking with the Mace of Ulumak, Gorok gains additional attack from his Predator Fighter special rule on a 5 or 6. He has 4 attacks that weapon skill 5 that reroll to hit and a 5/6 additional attack. And he has the Shield of Aeons. Eons? Aeons? I think it's Eons. Shield of Eons. Magic Armor. Gorok counts his armor save as being 2 points higher than normal instead of the usual 1 point that the shield would normally grant. In addition, any enemy model that makes a successful charge against Gorok ends his movement phase and base contact with him must immediately take a dangerous terrain test. I think it's models. Yeah, it's any models take dangerous. So he has a 2-up armor save, toughness 6, 2 wounds. You gotta go through 2 wounds typically. You can't just like one-shot him for the most part. Chitax, the Eternity Warning, is way too expensive. Teeny Weenie, that's actually his name, is the Prophet of Sotek. He's on like a 40 by 40 square base. It's just rules written for this model that exists from back in the day. Garbage. Teto Echo is not bad though. Teto Echo is the skink that's on the palanquin that floats around. He's level 2 wizard. He's a lore master for a lore of heaven, so he's a skink character, a skink wizard that can cast it is heavens. So he's a lore master of heavens, so he knows the full lore of heavens. But he has other special rules. I'm gonna check out his points because he is this is a character worth purchasing. Even though he's a named character, and in my opinion, you should get your opponent's permission before you bring a named character to a game. But that's not how everybody feels. Yeah, Teto Echo comes in at 185 points for a level 2 wizard who is a lore master. Already pretty solid. Oh, and he can join you in the Skinks, which is kind of needs a skink cohort unit to keep him safe though. And Arcane Vessel, Slam can cast through him like other skinks. I think I forgot to mention that. Slam can cast spells through skink wizards and drawing line of sight and range through the skinks. It's always good to have a skink or 2 on the table to run around to a flank and have your Slam cast through them. Teto Echo has a 5-up ward save. Okay, he has the rule called the Herald of Cosmic Events. Roll a d6 at the start of each friendly magic phase. On a roll of 1, all friendly wizards casting a spell must re-roll any power dice that roll a 6 that phase. But on a 2 to 6, all friendly wizards must re-roll all power dice that re-roll 1 that phase. So basically, you're re-rolling 1s in your magic phase most of the time. Every now and then it backfires. Teto Echo, same thing as, that's the Pelican rule. Same as the Slam, but for skinks. You automatically pass Logo Sir, dangerous terrain tests, and he has the Eye of the Old Ones for magic items. After deployment, before Vanguard moves are made, if Teto Echo is on the battlefield, he can consult the Eye of the Old Ones. If he does so, D3 friendly units of your choice gain the Vanguard special rule. Now remember, you can't charge if you're going first, but woo! Vanguard, D3 units. Pretty solid. And then the Stellar Staff, Arcane item. If Teto Echo successfully casts a spell, Comment of Cassandora, you may reroll the dice at the start of each magic phase to see if the comment arises. If you didn't need a skink cohort unit to keep him safe, I would bring him all the time. Tic Tac Toe, he's too expensive. Oxyodal? Too expensive. Yeah, that's it. So there you go, Lizardmen, one of my favorite armies. Beautiful. It does everything you want to do. What's the downside of the army? I don't know. It's a solid army. It is not it's not going to win. It's not the best army out there. It's not going to win. But I feel as you got a Lizardman army, you pretty much have an advantage over most other armies. There you go. There's Lizardmen. That's all I got to say. There'll be more. Have you wargaming?